Bonnie Lee Bakley was known in certain Hollywood circles for her charm and beauty, and her lifestyle was nothing short of controversial. She had been married 9 times and had a history of relationships with older wealthy men. Her name surfaced frequently in tabloid headlines, especially after she married well-known actor Robert Blake. But on May 4, 2001, her life came to a sudden and violent end when she was shot while sitting in her car outside a restaurant in Studio City, California. Bonnie had been dining with Blake at Vitello's, an Italian restaurant the couple often frequented. After dinner, they walked to their car. Blake claimed he had forgotten his handgun at the table and went back inside the restaurant to retrieve it. When he returned, he said he found Bonnie slumped over in the passenger seat, bleeding from a gunshot wound. Emergency services were called, but Bonnie was pronounced dead shortly after their arrival. The public was stunned. The death of the wife of a once famous television star instantly made headlines. But what shocked everyone even more was how quickly suspicion turned toward Blake himself. The investigation into Bonnie's murder revealed a web of deceit, jealousy, and motive. Bonnie's past was complicated. She had multiple children with different men, and at the time of her death, there were questions about the paternity of her youngest child. Initially, she claimed that famed actor Christian Brando was the father, but DNA tests proved that Robert Blake was indeed the biological father of the baby girl. Bonnie had been determined to tie herself to a celebrity, and Robert Blake had reluctantly married her, primarily for the child's sake. Friends of Blake claimed he felt trapped and resented Bonnie for manipulating him. He allegedly spoke about how she had used deceitful tactics to force him into fatherhood and marriage. Despite the marriage, Blake reportedly kept Bonnie in a separate house and had little emotional connection to her. Police became suspicious of Blake's account of events, especially when his alibi began to unravel. Forensic tests showed that the murder weapon, a handgun found in a dumpster near the crime scene, was not the gun Blake had registered. Moreover, investigators discovered that Blake had attempted to hire 2 stuntmen to kill Bonnie weeks before her death. Both men later came forward and said Blake had offered them money to carry out the murder, but they declined. With this evidence, Blake was arrested in April 2002 and charged with the murder of his wife, along with conspiracy and solicitation to commit murder. The trial that followed was one of the most high-profile celebrity cases in years, drawing comparisons to the O.J. Simpson trial. Blake's defense team argued that he had no reason to kill Bonnie, and that the murder could have been the result of one of her many enemies. They emphasized that Bonnie had lived a dangerous life, often scamming men and getting involved with questionable individuals. According to the defense, anyone with a grudge against her could have committed the crime. Despite the strong circumstantial evidence, the prosecution lacked physical proof directly tying Blake to the murder weapon, or the act itself. No eyewitness saw him at the car during the time of the shooting. And though his alleged solicitation of hitmen painted a damning picture, the witnesses were of questionable credibility. In March 2005, Robert Blake was acquitted of the criminal charges of murder. The jury found that the prosecution had not met the burden of proof. However, in a separate civil trial brought by the Bakley family, Blake was found liable for Bonnie's wrongful death and was ordered to pay $30 million in damages, later reduced to $15 million. Even after the trials ended, the mystery surrounding Bonnie Lee Bakley's murder lingered. No one else was ever charged in connection with her death, and the case remains officially unsolved.